Love has a way of shaping every chapter of our lives, quietly guiding our choices, strengthening us through uncertainty, and giving meaning to both joy and struggle. For some people, love shows up through family. For others, through purpose or passion. For George Strait, it arrived in many forms at once. Devotion to his wife, deep connection to his children, loyalty to his roots, and a lifelong bond with music. While the world knows him as the king of country, the man behind the songs has always lived by simpler values. His journey is not just about chart-topping hits or sold-out arenas, but about staying grounded through change, honoring loved ones through difficult seasons, and remaining true to himself. George's story reminds us that success feels richest when it is built on love, patience, and quiet strength, rather than spotlight and applause alone. Ranch roots in South Texas. George Harvey Strait was born on May 18, 1952, in Poteet, Texas, and raised on a sprawling cattle ranch in Big Wells. Life there was honest and demanding, filled with early mornings, open skies, and responsibilities that came with caring for animals and land. Alongside his older brother Buddy, George learned how to work hard, respect others, and finish what he started. These early lessons stayed with him long after he left the ranch behind. When his parents separated during his childhood, George remained with his father, who balanced discipline with quiet encouragement. That experience taught him resilience and independence at a young age. The ranch didn't just give George memories, it shaped his character. It instilled humility, consistency, and gratitude, qualities that would later define both his music and his approach to fame. Discovering music in simple moments. As music entered George's life without fanfare. In high school, he and his brother formed a small band, playing rock and roll at local gatherings and school events. It wasn't polished and it wasn't professional, but it awakened something inside him. Performing brought connection, energy, and a sense of expression that felt different from ranch work. He began to realize that songs could tell stories in ways words alone could not. While he never imagined superstardom at that point, George felt drawn to melodies that reflected everyday life. Music became a quiet companion, something he carried alongside his responsibilities. Those early performances planted a seed that would slowly grow over time. Even then, he valued sincerity over showmanship, choosing authenticity instead of flash, a choice that would later define his entire career. A young love that lasted. During high school, George met Norma Voss, and their bond formed quickly and naturally. Their connection was steady rather than dramatic, built on trust, shared values, and mutual respect. In 1971, they decided to elope to Mexico, beginning a marriage that would endure life's many changes. Later that same year, they officially married and started building their future together. Norma became George's strongest supporter, standing beside him through uncertainty, ambition, and later, worldwide fame. Their relationship remained private and grounded, even as his public life expanded. Together, they created a home centered on loyalty and understanding. Norma's belief in George never wavered, especially during moments when his own confidence was tested. Their partnership became a quiet foundation beneath everything he achieved, proving that lasting love often grows strongest away from the spotlight, serving his country and growing his family. Soon after marrying Norma, George enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed in Hawaii. Far from Texas, he adjusted to military life while learning responsibility in new ways. During this time, he and Norma welcomed their first child, Jennifer, which brought added purpose and maturity. Balancing service, fatherhood, and personal dreams was not easy, but George embraced it with determination. He worked as an engineering clerk while finding comfort in music during off hours. The experience taught him discipline and patience, reinforcing lessons he had learned on the ranch. Hawaii also gave him space to reflect on what truly mattered. Being away from home clarified his priorities. Family first, integrity always, and music as something more than a hobby. These years quietly shaped the man he was becoming, finding his voice. Through country music, while in the Army, George joined an informal country group called Rambling Country, performing for fellow soldiers. Those small shows confirmed what he had long suspected. Music was his calling. Standing in front of an audience felt natural, and sharing stories through song brought him genuine fulfillment. Country music, in particular, spoke to his upbringing and values. It reflected real life, love, hardship, humor, and hope, all wrapped in honest melodies. When his military service ended, George returned to Texas with renewed clarity. He knew the road ahead would not be easy, but he was ready to try. With Norma's encouragement and his growing confidence, he committed himself fully to music, even though success was far from guaranteed. It was a leap of faith, grounded in passion and perseverance. Balancing dreams and reality, back in Texas, George enrolled in college while performing at local venues with the Ace in the Hole Band. Days were spent in class, nights on small stages, and weekends traveling to wherever audiences would listen. Money was tight, and progress felt slow. Trips to Nashville often ended in disappointment, as record labels viewed his traditional sound as outdated. Still, George kept showing up, refining his craft and staying true to his style. Norma remained his steady source of encouragement, reminding him why he started. There were moments when giving up felt tempting, but persistence carried him forward. He chose authenticity over trends, believing that honest music would eventually find its place. Those years taught him patience and resilience, shaping his identity long before fame arrived. The breakthrough that changed everything. In 1981, George finally caught his break when MCA Records signed him, and his debut single, Unwound, quickly climbed the charts. Suddenly, the years of uncertainty gave way to opportunity. That same period brought another blessing when George and Norma welcomed their son, Bubba. Fatherhood and rising success arrived together, adding both joy and responsibility. George approached fame with the same humility he learned on the ranch, focusing on family while embracing his growing career. His music resonated because it felt real, grounded in everyday experience rather than spectacle. Fans connected with his calm presence and timeless sound. What began as small shows in Texas bars transformed into a national audience. Yet George remained centered. His journey proved that steady dedication can eventually open doors that once seemed closed. Navigating life in the public eye. As George's popularity grew, so did the demands of touring, recording, and public appearances. Despite the busy schedule, he worked hard to protect his family's privacy. He preferred quiet moments at home to glamorous events, choosing balance over excess. Fame never changed his core values. He stayed approachable, respectful, and focused on his craft. While audiences saw confidence on stage, George remained reserved off it, letting his music speak for him. Norma and their children remained his emotional anchor, offering stability amid constant travel. He learned how to navigate success without losing himself, a rare quality in entertainment. By keeping his personal life grounded and his professional life disciplined, George built a career that felt sustainable. His approach showed that it's possible to thrive publicly while living privately. Turning life experience into song. George's music has always reflected lived experience. Rather than chasing trends, he chose stories rooted in honesty, relationships, and everyday emotions. Songs like Amarillo by Morning, Check Yes or No, and The Chair resonated because they felt familiar and sincere. He sang about love, longing, commitment, and growth in ways listeners could relate to. Each album carried pieces of his journey, shaped by both joyful moments and quieter reflections. George never relied on flashy production. Instead, he trusted melody and storytelling. His voice conveyed warmth and calm strength, creating a sense of comfort for fans. Over time, his catalog became a soundtrack for countless lives, played at weddings, road trips, and family gatherings. His artistry proved that authenticity has lasting power. Holding family close through change. No matter how successful he became, George never lost sight of what mattered most. Family always came first. He and Norma created a home centered on support, privacy, and togetherness. George made intentional choices to be present whenever possible, even while touring. He valued simple traditions, shared meals, and time away from cameras. As his children grew, he encouraged them to follow their own paths rather than live in his shadow. This steady commitment helped him remain grounded as fame expanded. His approach to parenting mirrored his upbringing. Teach responsibility, offer encouragement, and lead by example. Through every phase of life, George leaned on the same principles he learned as a boy in Texas. Success never replaced connection. It simply gave him more reasons to cherish it. Quiet strength. During difficult seasons, like every life, George's journey included moments that tested his resilience. During challenging periods, he chose privacy over publicity, leaning on loved ones rather than headlines. Instead of speaking openly about every struggle, he processed emotions quietly and continued moving forward. Music became his outlet, a place where feelings could exist without explanation. He showed that strength doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it appears as consistency, patience, and showing up each day. Through changing seasons, George maintained his steady presence, refusing to let hardship define him. His ability to keep creating, performing, and loving reflected deep inner resolve. Fans sensed this authenticity, connecting not just with his voice, but with his character. His example reminds us that endurance often lives in small, steady choices. Staying true to traditional country. At a time when country music began blending with pop influences, George remained loyal to traditional sounds. Fiddle, steel guitar, and classic storytelling stayed at the heart of his work. This commitment helped preserve the roots of the genre while introducing it to new generations. Rather than adapting to trends, George trusted his instincts, believing that timeless music would always find listeners. His consistency earned respect from peers and fans alike. Over decades, he became a bridge between classic, country, and modern audiences. Younger artists looked to him as a model of integrity and longevity. By honoring tradition while remaining relevant, George proved that authenticity never goes out of style. His career became a blueprint for artists who value substance over novelty and heritage over hype. Record-breaking success with humble grace. George Strait's achievements are extraordinary. Dozens of #1 hits, millions of albums sold, and years of sold-out tours. Yet he never allowed numbers to define him. Awards were appreciated, but relationships mattered more. He approached every milestone with gratitude rather than ego. Fans admired his calm demeanor and respectful presence, both on and off stage. Even as his influence grew, he remained approachable, often crediting his band, his family, and his listeners for his success. His consistency over decades set him apart in an industry known for rapid change. Instead of chasing reinvention, George focused on refinement, improving his craft while staying true to himself. His career shows that lasting success is built on reliability, sincerity, and mutual respect between artist and audience. Giving back with purpose. George has always believed in using his platform to help others. Through the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, he supports children's causes across Texas, focusing on education and health initiatives. Giving back reflects the values he learned growing up: community, responsibility, and compassion. Rather than seeking recognition, he lets the work speak quietly for itself. This commitment allows him to honor family while making a meaningful difference for others. His charitable efforts remind us that impact extends beyond entertainment. Success becomes more powerful when it's shared. George's approach to philanthropy mirrors his personality: steady, thoughtful, and sincere. By investing in future generations, he continues shaping lives in ways that go far beyond music, proving that generosity can be as lasting as any song. A legendary connection with fans. Even after stepping back from full-time touring, George's bond with fans remains strong. His performances continue to draw massive crowds, reflecting decades of trust and appreciation. Audiences don't just attend his concerts for nostalgia, they come for authenticity. George offers the same calm presence and heartfelt delivery he always has. Each show feels like a shared moment rather than a spectacle. Fans span generations, from longtime listeners to younger audiences discovering his music for the first time. His ability to connect without gimmicks speaks to the power of sincerity. Whether in stadiums or smaller venues, George brings the same respect to every performance. That consistency has built a loyal following that continues to grow, proving that genuine connection never fades. Aging gracefully in the spotlight. As the years pass, George has embraced a quieter pace while continuing to create music on his own terms. He chooses projects thoughtfully, balancing creativity with personal time. Rather than chasing constant visibility, he values meaningful moments and lasting relationships. His later work reflects maturity, gratitude, and reflection, offering fans a deeper perspective on life. George demonstrates that aging in the public eye doesn't require reinvention, it requires honesty. He remains comfortable with who he is, carrying wisdom earned through experience. This stage of his life feels less about proving anything and more about enjoying what he has built. His journey encourages others to age with confidence, showing that fulfillment comes from acceptance rather than comparison. The man beyond the microphone. Behind every song is a man who values simplicity. George enjoys ranch life, time with family, and moments away from attention. He prefers jeans to tuxedos and quiet evenings to red carpets. This grounded lifestyle keeps him connected to his roots. Friends describe him as loyal, dependable, and genuine. He listens more than he speaks and lets actions carry meaning. These qualities have earned him respect far beyond the music world. George never tried to become a celebrity. He simply followed his passion and stayed consistent. That authenticity is what fans feel when they hear his voice. His life reminds us that true character shows up in everyday choices, not just on stage. Lessons from a life of consistency. George Strait's journey offers powerful lessons about patience, commitment, and staying true to oneself. He didn't rise overnight, and he never chased shortcuts. Instead, he built his career one song at a time, guided by values formed long before fame. His story shows that success doesn't require constant reinvention. Sometimes it requires steady belief and quiet persistence. He teaches us that family can coexist with ambition, and that humility strengthens achievement. Through decades of change, George remained consistent in who he was and what he stood for. That reliability created trust with fans and stability in his personal life. His example encourages anyone chasing a dream to move forward with integrity, even when progress feels slow. Music that lives in everyday moments. George's songs have become part of people's lives in meaningful ways. They play during long drives, family gatherings, weddings, and quiet evenings at home. His music carries warmth, familiarity, and comfort. Listeners return to his catalog not just for melodies, but for stories that feel real. Each lyric reflects emotions many have experienced: hope, love, reflection, and perseverance. His voice offers reassurance, reminding people they're not alone in what they feel. That emotional connection is why his work continues to resonate. George didn't aim to create anthems, he aimed to tell the truth through song. In doing so, he gave generations of listeners something lasting, personal, and deeply human. A legacy built on love. George Strait's legacy reaches far beyond awards and records. It lives in his devotion to family, respect for tradition, generosity toward others, and unwavering authenticity. He built a career without losing himself, a rare accomplishment in any field. His life demonstrates that greatness can be quiet and influence can be gentle. By choosing love, consistency, and humility, George created something enduring. His story invites reflection on what truly matters: connection, purpose, and staying grounded through every season. As his music continues to inspire, so does the way he lives. George Strait stands as a reminder that a meaningful life is not measured by fame alone, but by the hearts you touch and the values you uphold. A life truly well lived. From Texas ranch fields to world stages, George Strait's journey reflects resilience, devotion, and authenticity. He followed his calling while honoring his roots, built success without sacrificing family, and faced life with quiet strength. His music carries the weight of experience and the warmth of sincerity. More than a country legend, George is a symbol of staying true through change. His story encourages us to pursue our passions while protecting what matters most. Through every chapter, love remained at the center. Love for music, family, community, and simple living. That balance defines his legacy. George Strait shows us that fulfillment comes not from spotlight alone, but from living with integrity, gratitude, and heart. His life stands as a powerful example of what it means to walk your path with grace.